Donald Trump is in full-blown panic mode as Pete Hegseth's scandal goes from bad to unbelievably worse, and now even Republicans are turning on them. What started as backlash over war crime allegations has exploded into a full-blown GOP revolt, with Trump's own allies in Congress leading the charge to investigate and potentially oust Hegseth. After Hegseth tried to blame a Navy admiral to save himself, even his colleagues are done protecting him. This is shaping up to be one of the most dangerous scandals of Trump's second term, so be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and let's get straight into it. So by now, we have all heard that Pete Hegseth is under attack for potentially ordering the US Navy to literally commit war crimes. And while this alone is huge news, the story blew up even more in the past 24 hours, because instead of admitting a mistake, Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump have resorted to lying and changing their story left and right, literally acting as guilty as humanly possible. First, they tried blaming the admirals who work for Pete Hegseth, with the secretary himself saying that he didn't see the second attack and that the final decision was made by the Navy alone, not him.
Watch that first strike live. As you can imagine, at the Department of War, we got a lot of things to do. So I didn't stick around for the hour and 2 hours, whatever, where all the sensitive site exploitation digitally occurs. So I moved on to my next meeting. A couple of hours later, I learned that that commander had made which he had the complete authority to do, and by the way, Admiral Bradley made the correct decision to ultimately sink the boat and eliminate the threat.
Hegseth even went on to say that he didn't know that there were survivors and that the media is just out to get him. But to me, it sounds more like Pete is just starting to lose it here. He even implies that anything can happen during the fog of war, as if federal laws don't still apply during a military operation.
I did not personally see survivors, but I stand, because the thing was on fire. It was exploded and fire, smoke, you can't see anything, you got digital. This is called the fog of war. This is what you in the press don't understand. You sit in your air-conditioned offices or up on Capitol Hill and you nitpick and you plant fake stories in the Washington Post about kill everybody, phrases on anonymous sources not based in anything, not based in any truth at all.
Now, after saying that he didn't watch the actual attack, Pete Hegseth was exposed today for saying the exact opposite just days after the actual attack. In a resurfaced clip, Pete Hegseth can be seen saying in September that he was not only present with the Navy for the attack, but that he watched it happen live.
So the president is sending a message to other cartels, right?
A very clear one. I can tell you that was definitely not artificial intelligence. I watched it live. We knew exactly who was in that boat. We knew exactly what they were doing, and we knew exactly who they represented. And that was Tren de Aragua, a narco-terrorist organization designated by the United States, trying to poison our country with illicit drugs.
Pete Hegseth explicitly said that the admiral on scene made the final calls, and that he didn't watch the attacks when they happened. But the internet doesn't forget, Pete. With this obvious lie now muddying the waters, tensions have been flaring up in Washington today, most notably with Republicans themselves, who, after doing nothing for almost a year, are finally waking up to the fact that the Trump administration is just breaking laws left and right. And if it somehow wasn't obvious before, I think Republicans in Congress got an even bigger shock today when Donald Trump was asked point blank if people involved in war crimes need to be punished, and he refused to agree. Instead, he says that everyone involved in this mess just did a good job.
We'll see what happens. Mr. President, in the boat strikes, if it is found that survivors were actually killed while clinging on to that boat, should Secretary Hegseth, Admiral Bradley, or others be punished?
I think you're going to find that this is war, that these people were killing our people by the millions, actually, if you look over a few years. I think last year we lost close to 300,000 people were killed. That's not mentioning all the families. Have you seen what happens with the families of not only the people killed, the people that are trying to get their son or their daughter off of this poison that they've been fed? I think you're going to find that there's a very receptive ear to doing exactly what they're doing, taking out those boats. And very soon we're going to start doing it on land too, because we know every route, we know every house, we know where they manufacture this crap, we know where they put it all together. And I think you're going to see it very soon on land also. Yeah, please.
So to be clear, you support the decision to kill survivors after the initial
No, I
strike?
support the decision to knock out the boats. And whoever is piloting those boats, most of them are gone. But whoever are piloting those boats, they're guilty of trying to kill people in our country. Yeah, please.
So in just 2 days, this story has gone from Hegseth, and by extension Trump, was not really involved in the attack, to Pete was following along live with the attack, to I don't know if this was a war crime, but I liked it. If Trump and Hegseth wanted to look like they weren't causing war crimes, they are doing a terrible job. So bad, in fact, that everyone is now turning against them. One major voice from today is a conservative judge and Fox contributor who used to work with Pete Hegseth on Fox. After knowing the secretary for years, he's now calling for him to serve jail time for these disastrous boat attacks.
It gives me no pleasure to say what I'm about to say because I worked with Pete Hegseth for 7 or 8 years at Fox News. This is an act of a war crime, ordering survivors who the law requires be rescued instead to be murdered. There's absolutely no legal basis for it. Everybody along the line who did it, from the Secretary of Defense to the Admiral to the people who actually pulled the trigger, should be prosecuted for a war crime for killing these 2 people.
Everyone from the Secretary to the people who pulled the trigger should be prosecuted for war crimes. That is a major accusation, and one from Hegseth's own colleagues no less. I think Donald Trump forgot that right-wingers don't just support, but straight up idolize the military. It's the one institution they won't let him corrupt. And we can already see that the Republican backlash is growing in Congress today as well. After both the House and the Senate launched investigations into Pete Hegseth, Republican congressmen seem to be the ones taking the lead today, with many prominent voices now speaking out against Hegseth, Trump, and anyone else involved.
We don't kill 2 survivors who are not posing an imminent threat to anybody. And so best I can really say, I just want to make sure I get the facts. But if what is being reported is true, someone is wrong and they should be held accountable. It doesn't sound good. And if somebody actually did this, they should be held accountable. And it should be at the top, not at the bottom.
You think that he should go if he's involved here?
Secretary, absolutely. I felt that way under Signalgate. He should have taken responsibility then, and he didn't.
I've spoken to the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. I've spoken to the Secretary of Defense, and will be speaking to the Admiral that was in charge of the operation. I understand he was in charge of the operation. And based on that, we'll begin our oversight and get to the facts.
Do you worry it could be a war crime if the survivors were killed?
We're going to find out what the true facts are.
And as both the House and Senate now probe the Pentagon, the loudest voice against Hegseth has been Republican Senator Rand Paul. Paul is by far the most anti-war Republican in the Senate and is a staunch defender of our troops. And last night, he launched into a major attack against Pete Hegseth for his obvious lies and lack of accountability.
In this sense, it looks to me like they're trying to pin the blame on somebody else and not them. There's a very distinct statement was said on Sunday. Secretary Hegseth said he had no knowledge of this and it did not happen. It was fake news. It didn't happen. And then the next day from the podium of the White House they're saying it did happen. So either he was lying to us on Sunday or he's incompetent and didn't know it had happened. Do we think there's any chance that on Sunday the Secretary of the Defense did not know there had been a second strike?
Now, Rand Paul doesn't represent every single Republican, but his attacks are a clear sign that this war crime scandal has cost Donald Trump his control over the United States Senate. Republicans were once afraid of calling out RFK Jr. for lying about vaccines, but now they are calling Pete Hegseth a liar to the press. This is a terrible sign for Donald Trump. And to be honest, Trump and Pete Hegseth probably could have swept this scandal under the rug if they knew what they were doing. But instead, Republicans are speaking out, investigating the Pentagon, and threatening consequences from the top, not the bottom, as Don Bacon put it. Just as Republicans flipped on the Epstein files over the course of 1 week, we might be seeing the next great revolt against Donald Trump from Republicans. And this time, Pete Hegseth could be stuck paying the price behind bars. But let me know what you think will happen. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more.